Hey guys. What is going on, everybody? It is Ian here with Miller Garage. It is a beautiful Texas morning. I'm out in the cool of the day, which means it's only about 88, 90 degrees. So much better than 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Still a little brutal, but I'm able to get out here and do some of the polishing first thing in the morning. So that's what we're talking about today, is polishing, and we're talking about the first cut. And from everything that I have learned and everything that I have done, I have found that the first cut is the most important part of the polishing process. Getting your prep right, getting that first cut. I would say what I try to do is I get it about 80% of the way there. 80% of my work is spent on the first cut. Because if you can get that foundation right, then everything else will go a lot smoother. You don't want to be moving to the next stage, to the next different wheels and rouges before you get that first pass really well. Because what a lot of times will happen is you can be polishing and you don't get a lot of that corrosion out, you don't get a lot of the scratches and stuff out that you can, and so then whenever you go to the next stage, it's not going to improve it. All it's going to do is improve the areas that have already been polished. It's not going to further cut anymore, and so that's I think a big mistake that a lot of people make. So we're going to be talking about that. I'm going to be showing you guys, and then the second thing I want to talk to you about is the first cut and clarity, which has to do with obviously like looking at it, how much mirror effect you have. So if you take something like your phone and you put it up against it, essentially the closer in you get, the clearer the reflection will be. And I'll get video of all this stuff, but then as you come out, it starts to get more hazy the further away you get. And the objective is, with the best clarity, the further out something is, the better the reflection remains. And so there's a lot of things that affect that, just your overall, like I said, getting the first pass done correctly, as well as the direction that you're polishing in. So we're going to discuss all those things today, so stay tuned. Okay, so I'm pretty much ready. One thing I want to say is I wear protective equipment. The aluminum and the chemicals in the bars, just not good for your health. You don't want to breathe that stuff in. I want to live a long, happy life and be healthy, and so protect yourself, guys. Seriously, I see so many people polishing with like nothing, no face protection. They're just breathing the stuff in. I mean, you're gonna get lung cancer. So, little PSA. So, next thing, equipment. So I had that Milwaukee grinder that crapped out, if you saw on my Instagram. So I got a Makita one now. I want to try this out. I need to try to send that one back. I'm going to start disassembling and cleaning my equipment more often because it's, this stuff's hard on equipment. If you are just getting into polishing or only doing one, I wouldn't recommend getting one of these 6,000 RPM grinders. It's something that you need to have a little bit more experience to get into. So just get one of like the 3,500 RPM ones. It works great. It's just not quite as fast. It does the same thing. It's just a matter of speed. But I'm using this, and the other thing is this thing weighs about twice as much as my DeWalt grinder, so it's a lot harder on your body. But that's what I'm using, and I'm using, for the cutting pass, I'm using Zephyr's. This is the red and orange airway wheel with the aluminum flange. If you use a 6,000 RPM grinder, you have to use this or it will explode and you will die, and you don't want that. I'm also still using the Contour SCT. On this trailer, it's working well. I've found that if a trailer has higher corrosion and is a rougher surface, this doesn't help it as much, and so I only use the airway, but this is in combination. I do like a quick pass with this first to remove a lot of the material really fast, and then I clean it up with this. This just doesn't create the clarity that the airway does. So, I'm gonna be working on this section right in here. This Airstream is in pretty good shape. It had a clear coat on, that's been stripped off. This metal is really hot right now. And so the aluminum's in really good shape. It's cleaning up well. There's some areas of filiform corrosion, but for the most part, it's in really great shape. And I'm just gonna start moving across this way. I'm gonna hit it with the SET first and just clean up the whole section and then finish it off with the Makita. And I'm actually gonna do in sections like this, and I'm gonna show you the difference in direction and how that affects your clarity, and discuss that. I'm also gonna go over how much detail I put into it and show you guys the difference. So we're gonna start with prep. I use mineral spirits, just a towel. You wanna clean your surface well, make sure, you know, dirt and all that stuff is off. So then another thing that can help as well with getting the area done well, fast, and with great clarity is to make sure that you're raking out your pads on a pretty regular basis. This one right here, this one needs to be raked. I don't know how well you can see that, but whenever it starts to really look like it's got a good layer of shiny aluminum on it, is a good indication that you need to rake it. I usually would say after I do a section about this big, I rake it out. And you want to be adding your rouge pretty regularly as well. So I'll kind of demonstrate about how often I do it with this pass right here. But I'm going to be starting with the SET. That one tends to use a little bit more rouge overall, just because the pad's bigger. And I feel like it kind of wastes a little bit of it more, which is why sometimes this one, you know, it's fast, which is why I like it. But again, the pads and the use of the polish is a little bit more expensive. So
okay, so maybe kind of hard to hear me, but when you turn it on, you want to just put enough to, you know, get a little bit on there for maybe like 2 or 3 seconds on there. You don't want to overfill it and waste more polish.
okay, so that's with the SCT. And I consider using that and the Makita as like the first pass, because that took, you know, all of like 2 minutes to get this section. And you can see there that it's, you know, it got it pretty good. There's definitely some streaking and some lack of clarity there. But you know, in a very short amount of time, it took off a lot of material and it got it pretty good. I try to avoid the rivets with the SCT because it really just drags a line of polish down underneath them. So then I clean them up with the airway. So I'm going to switch over to doing the airway, and we're going to make this cut where the grooves are essentially going to be vertical, and I'll show you the difference and why that creates more clarity to go vertically versus horizontally. I do use horizontal for cross cutting, but I always clean it back up with a vertical pass. All right, so you can probably see just from the camera that there is a noticeable improvement over the SCT. I'm gonna get some more close-up footage of it as well. Now, obviously, there's still some streaking in there. It's not 100% done, obviously, because this is still just the first pass. But like I said, I mean, with this section, I'm happy with how this all is looking, and you know, this is ready to go. And like I said, this is probably about 80%, 90% of the way there. The additional 2 passes are going to be just to clean it up and just really bring that mirror shine and that clarity all the way out. You know, you can still see some of the streaking from just the polish that's still there. You clean that off, it helps it. You notice that on the rivets, I would come in and I would cross cut them and go sideways, clean them up, because you want to get the underside and all around it to try to clean that area up and remove the polish that builds up as well from only cutting in one direction. You can finish that whenever you clean it at the end. So now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to just cross cut it and show you how the direction that you go makes a big difference. This is another reason why I prefer using the airway wheels versus like the cotton sewn pads, is because these are all cutting in one direction, whereas whenever you're using that, it's turning. And so you're getting cuts this way, you're getting cuts this way, you're getting cuts this way, and this way, so that you have 4 different directions that your cut's going in. And so in the end, it's gonna create more of a swirl. That's why whenever you see some trailers and you can see the swirl marks in when they've been polished, that's what that's from, is using those rotary polishers with the wool pads, is that they put cuts in all different directions. Whenever you see it, you'll understand. So let me show you that. Pro tip, don't leave your gloves in the sun while you're talking because they get ridiculously hot. I gotta go cool these off real quick. Okay, now you guys may be able to see that just from the camera, but as I'm looking at it, this one looks way more hazy. And let me get a close-up shot to kind of illustrate more. Okay, you guys especially see whenever I came across it and the sun was reflecting into it, this one looked way worse than this side. And here's the reason why. It has to do with the direction of the sun. So the sun is shining down on it this way. Your rays are coming like this. And so if your cuts are like this, it's hitting the cuts essentially perpendicular, causing it to reflect a lot more. Whereas if you're vertical, it's shining down the cuts, and so you're not getting that same glare and that reflection. And so you get a lot more clarity cutting this direction vertically versus this direction. So that's why, in the same thing with cars, how you see swirls, it's because the light reflecting into the scratch is what is causing it to show a swirl or a machine mark. And so if you cut with the direction of the light, then it's gonna have a lot more clarity. All right, so real quick, I want to address kind of the elephant in the room. My last polishing video, I was a wee bit dramatic. Everybody hurts. You know, around that season of life, January, February, there was a lot of just difficult things going on in life. And to be honest, I was kind of questioning, do I really want to do this whole Airstream thing? That particular project was a little bit frustrating. And so I kind of, in a way, like reacted to my circumstances in a negative way by just being like, oh, I never want to polish again. But the truth is, like, I actually enjoy it. I don't necessarily want to do this like all the dang time. I don't do this in just like a total block of a week. I don't polish straight through. I tend to space it out, and it's more enjoyable that way, to be honest. And I also want to bring in other people to help with polishing. So with that being said, Miller Garage is still offering Airstream polishing. So if that is something you're interested in, reach out to us. You know, I still do it. Right now I am very booked up, and until some transition things happen in life, I don't know how many other projects I can take on before 2021, because I have a lot. If you've seen some previous videos, we got a lot going on. It's super exciting, unbelievably grateful. But polishing is something we're gonna be doing more of, so just wanted to throw that out there. Okay, so I'm gonna keep going on this. I'm just gonna be working my way down. I'm gonna be working on, you know, the door. I'm gonna do probably till about the midway in the lower section, and then I'm gonna probably work on the front. The other side is pretty much done. I have a few little detail stuff around windows to take care of. And I got the scaffolding over there, finish up that stuff. But I'm just gonna shoot a little bit more content of polishing so you guys can kind of see, just, you know, see it a little bit more, to see how I'm moving with the machine and all that kind of stuff, because that can be helpful just to watch somebody do it. Me talking is great, but watching is also helpful. So I'm gonna get to it. So I got some pretty good progress done here. I wanted to point out two things that I was doing while polishing that may help you. So whenever you're at seams, especially horizontal seams, so you don't have to keep those cross-cut hatches, I basically use the machine, I go horizontally across, and then I feather it back up to where it gets vertical. You know, you're gonna have a little bit down there, but you can clean that up later on a little bit more. And then additionally, especially with that heavy polisher, I try to always, you know, support it with my body and really use my whole body to move and not just my arms, because you'll get worn out way faster. And then when I was down there, I was supporting it on my knee and using my knee to get all the rub railing. So, you know, work smarter, not harder. As always, everything, all the products that I talk about in this video are linked below. That is one way that you can help out the channel and keep more of this content coming if this is helpful for you. I didn't say earlier, but I'm using the Zephyr Brown Tripoli Rouge for the first cut. And like I said, the Zephyr Yellow and Orange Airway wheel. I normally do 10-inch wheels just because they last longer. It's a little more cost effective. And initially, the rotational speed's a little bit higher on the outside, so again, you're getting a little bit more cutting speed and power. Right now, I think it's 8 inches on that, because that's at, you know, when the first of COVID happened, I ordered a bunch of stuff, and that's what they had available. So I just wanted to stock up, because, you know, we got to stock up on everything, but I didn't stock up on toilet paper. I stocked up on, like, polishing compounded wheels and tools. So, you know, priorities. But I hope this video has been beneficial to you. I would love it if you would subscribe, like and comment below, follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and we got a lot more content coming to you. Have a good one.